Hi, welcome back to this module. Here in this session, we are going to cover some advanced Git techniques that will help you keep your repositories clean, organized, and ready for collaboration. We will talk about stashing changes, Git stash. Let's say you are working on some changes, but you are not ready to commit them, and you need to switch branches instead of committing unfinished work. You can use Git stash to temporarily store the changes and come back to them later. So first, let's create a file, name it, okay, for example, new or tmp new file dot txt, for example. So inside this file, we are going to write this is temporary work. Okay, hit enter. Now let's check the status of. Okay, so now, okay, let's for example add something to this file that I don't want to commit. So here, if we type git dash, so here we have stashed the changes and temporarily stores these changes and revert the repository to the last committed state. Okay, and now if we run git status, as you see, there's nothing to commit, and we are going to run git stash list to see the list of the stashes we have. And in order to bring back our changes, we can run git stash apply, and this is going to bring us the last change. If you want to, because this is bringing us the last, the recent stash. If you want to, if you have multiple stashes and you want to apply specific stash, you can use git stash apply stash, and then I'll ask the index of the stash you want to apply. For this, if you type 1, this is going to give you the second stash because the index is starting from 0. Okay, so that's it. Okay, now we are going to look at cleaning up untracked files. So sometimes you have untracked files in our repository that we no longer need. You can clean up these files using the git clean command. So first of all, let's check if we have untracked files. Yeah, okay. Unstaged, okay. Okay, so now we have cleaned, removed those files, and in this command git clean f will remove all untracked files from their directory. If you want to also remove untracked directories, not only files, you can run with the fd flag, because f stands for file and d stands for directory. Now let's talk about tags and releases in Git. So tags are useful for marking specific points in your history, like versions of your code, and releases make it easier to distribute or share those versions with others. So to create a tag, we will first make sure our repository has a few commits. If you haven't done so, you can create a simple text file and commit it. In my case, I have many commits, as you can see here. So to create a tag, we will first create like, okay, I'm going to run git tag v1.0, and now I'm going to create a lightweight tag. This will create a tag called v1.0 at the current commit, and to create an annotated tag which includes more information like the tagger's name, date, and message, you can run git tag a v1.0, the message version 1.0 release. Okay, now because I have already used the tag. Okay, now if we did git log, as you see, here is the tag that's made on the commits that we have. Now, if you want to push after creating a tag, locally you can push them to your remote GitHub using git push origin with the name of the version you want to push. For example, git push origin v1.0 here. To push all tags, you can run git push tags. And to view the tag in your all the tags in your repository, you can run git tag l, and you can also check out okay, it's forgot to see here to check out a specific tag. For example, in our case, the only tag we have is v1.0. Okay, so now we will discuss about the gitignore file, what it does. So gitignore file is helping you to ignore the files that you don't want to push to your GitHub repository or your remote repository in general. And so, for example, if I want only to push this readme.md to my repo, I will create a .git ignore file, and I will inside this specify every, for example, if I don't want all the files that have the tmp extension, if I want to ignore all the files, for example, with the log extension, I can type like this. If I want to ignore, for example, a folder, exactly, for example, a node folder, we can write here modules, and now it's going to ignore this folder when we commit. So this will prevent Git, as I said, from tracking log files, temporary files, and the node module directory. And after adding the git ignore, so Control S, git add git status. Well, so as I said, after adding the git ignore file, you can check which files are being ignored by running git status, as you see here. And now we are going to talk about the LFS. That stands for large files. For large files like images, videos, or data sets, for example, for GitHub, it gives you only 100 megabytes like limit to push. For example, if I have a machine learning model or AI model that depasses this capacity, in order to push these files, we will need the LFS because Git is not efficient for handling these big files. Git LFS allows you to manage large files in your repositories without bloating the repository history. So first of all, you have to install Git LFS install. For my case, I have already installed this. And then you are going to track the files that you want. Run git lfs track. For example, my file is a video. I'm going to write, or I want to track all the mp4 extension files. This is going to tell the git lfs to track all the mp4 files in my repository, and this will create a git attribute file, not a gitignore, but git attribute file that stores information about which file types are tracked by the LFS. And after that, we are going for this example. I don't have mp4 files, but just for the demo, as you see here, the git attributes file has been generated. And after that, we are going to git add the git attributes file and the video that I want to add as well. Then we commit our files. In the end, we are going to push to the main branch on our remote. And congratulations, you have learned some advanced Git techniques like stashing changes, working with tags, using gitignore to keep your repository clean, and managing large files with Git LFS. That's it for this course. I hope that you have learned something new and you get Git very well. I hope that you have enjoyed this journey, and thank you for your attention.